This will be my third video in my coffee snob series, and what I wanted to share with you is how easy it is to roast coffee beans yourself, if you're inclined to do that. And you might think that you need a coffee roaster, like a home roaster, to do that, but you don't. And uh, I actually learned this at a coffee shop. Um, it was somewhere outside of Cleveland. It was like 12 years ago, but I forget how this came about. But the lady working there told me you can just roast coffee beans in your oven, and I think they did it. She did it that way at this coffee shop. She had a cast iron skillet. She said you could just. She said you have to have the oven at 500, and you just put the beans in a cast iron skillet and put it in the oven. And I've roasted them at lower temperatures. I've tried it, and it really is best to get up to like 450 to 500 degrees. It takes so much longer if you don't. Um, but I wanted to give you some tips. Number one, now I have a local coffee shop, and it's a coffee roaster that I go to, and they sell green beans, so like raw coffee beans. And but if you don't have anyone locally, you could call and ask your local coffee roaster if they'll sell you something. Like, if they won't, you can buy them online. So now, and I like to encourage people to try it, because you can roast it the way you want it, and you can do smaller batches. You don't have to like buy a pound at a time, which goes, coffee goes stale after, there's usually a peak. I think the flavor peaks like the second and third day, and then it starts to drop off. And by the fifth day, I don't want to drink it anymore, So I used to buy like quarter pounds, half pound. I would rarely buy a full pound of coffee beans. But now that I buy green beans, I don't have to worry about that. I just roast more when I'm running out. And I don't roast so much that it's going to last, you know, 10 days, right? I roast enough to have it available for like 3 to 5 days. So anyhow, so all you do literally buy the beans, and you can mix them. So what I do is I buy a mix of I'll get like a pound of Sumatran mandling, and then a pound of Colombian, and I'll just mix them in the skillet, stir them up, put it in the oven. And what happens when you put it in the oven is it'll start to burn like on the edges. So that the whole process for roasting in a skillet in your oven, right, or in a pan in your oven, is to just stir it a lot. Okay. So at a certain point, I'll start to smell like it's starting to burn, which is good. That's what you want, right? It'll start to burn a little bit. I'll open the oven, and it'll just be like turning black around the edges. So I'll just stir it, right? So it's mixed up evenly. The burnt stuff is mixed up evenly with the green stuff. Put it back in. I'll do that maybe two, 3 times more. And at a certain point, once the oven gets hot enough, it stops burning just around the edges, and it's going to burn evenly. And when I say burn, turn brown, like I like a dark roast, right? But you just want to keep, that's it. And I don't even want to say like do it every 5 minutes. Just check it. You'll get the feel for it. Just pull it out, put it on the top of your stove, stir it with a fork or a spoon or whatever, put it back in. At a certain point, it's going to start cracking, and you'll hear those first cracks, and you just want to pay attention to it after that. So you go check it. You'll see it starting to burn, like on the top, whatever. You stir it, and it exposes more green. And then you'll hear the cracking starts to accelerate. It cracks more and more. And at some point, now this is one reason why you might not want to roast it at home. It does get kind of smoky, so that's the downside, but it's worth it to me. So at some point, it's starting to turn like dark brown to black, depending on how dark you want it roasted. And you'll start to get some smoke. Your smoke alarm might go off. Big deal. I just live with it. And then you just judge when you think it's dark enough for you, and pull it out. And what I usually do is I have like these flat bowls, and they're going to be hot. You want to put it in a real, ceramic bowl, or you could use steel, I guess. But the idea is you want it to radiate the heat, right? So you want to put it in something that's going to spread them out a lot, so it can radiate the heat, because it'll keep burning a bit, So the more I can spread the beans out, the more the heat's going to radiate quickly. That's it. Just put it in an airtight container and use it, every time you make coffee. And if you do it enough, you'll start to notice, like, oh wow, it tastes good the first day. It tastes even better like the second and third day. It starts to flatten out fourth and fifth day, and that's when it's time to roast some more. And that's what I do. One of the reasons I am doing this more than I used to go through phases where I do it like for 2-3 months and not do it for 6 months, right? But one of the reasons I'm doing this now is everyone is doing these lighter roasts now. They're all doing these blonde roasts, and I can't drink it. So I need a darker roast coffee. So that's if you're frustrated by this blonde roast, light roast trend, that's another reason to do it. Now, what you could do, if you don't want to buy green beans, you could just buy your pound of beans, right, and put them in the oven and roast them a little darker, if you don't like this blonde roast, light roast stuff. And I've done that too. So that is